Okay, folks, we have returned. Thanks to A, Daniela, and Bruna for the reports. Let's start Case 53 in the North America District. Politically incorrect. Matthew, isn't this exciting? We're on our way to meet the President of the United States. Jack, get a hold of yourself. Our reasons for requesting an interview with the President are far from joyful. We now know part of Sombra's big plan, divide the international community, no doubt to seize power for themselves. If they went as far as killing a unified nations envoy to pit the U.S. against the UN, who knows what else they've got in the works. Which is why we're going straight to the top. The President needs to know the current crisis has been orchestrated by Sombra. The President's holding a meeting with high-ranking foreign dignitaries at Camp Rushmore about this very crisis. This is the best time to get his attention. Matthew is trying to brush up on your stars and stripes. We're here. Why don't they just say Mount Rushmore? Matthew, there's not a second to lose. Let's go see the President. Marshal Matthew, I'm Sidney Hirsch, Director of Homeland Security. You need to come with me right away. There's been a murder at the lake. What? Take us to the lake, now. Got 12 of them. Got 12 of the instant magnifiers. Oh, great. Where did I see the stork? There we are. Got the first star already. Matthew, thank our lucky stars. I thought the victim was going to be the President, but this guy's clearly not President Hewitt. This guy was Special Agent Jonathan Stafford, the Secret Service agent assigned to the President. The victim was working for the President? Maybe that's who the killer was after. Is the President safe? The President's been taken to a secure location for the time being. Your meeting with him will have to wait. Marshal Matthew, this is a major security breach. I need to go make sure security is at its maximum. What are the odds of the President's security being killed right as we arrive? What if Sombra's behind this too? We need to find Stafford's killer ASAP to make sure the President stays safe. Matthew, you got the victim's phone. Let's unlock it. That crumpled letter is addressed to the victim, our victim, but it's illegible. Let's recover the missing text. Matthew, let's go solve this murder. We should, Jack, but I need to get some stars first, so sit tight, everybody. Okay, I got myself 11 stars. I'll examine the locked cell phone right now. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's going to lead to the analysis. BGN, BEQ, EAB. Matthew, the victim had his daily agenda open on his phone. It seems Stafford was on lunch break when he was murdered. You're right, before lunch he was on protective detail in the conference room. If the conference room was the last place the victim went, that's where we need to go. So it wasn't it? Okay. Well, let's get the faded letter out of the way first. There we go. Notice of suspension. Matthew, look at the header of this document. Suspension of duties, effective immediately. The victim had been suspended. So Stafford wasn't working for the president anymore. This doesn't fit with what Hirsch told us. He implied the victim was still on active duty, which is even stranger considering he's the one who signed the document. Something's fishy. Let's go have a word with Hirsch. Mr. Hirsch, you told us Agent Stafford was working for the president, but we found the suspension notice you issued for him. Care to explain? I gave him the papers this morning. For all anyone knew, he was still in charge of the president's security. Jonathan was a good agent, but he got too attached to his detail subjects. That's dangerous in our line of work. I saw him getting friendly with the president. Friendliness makes people sloppy. I couldn't take that risk, so I decided to deal with it before it got out of hand. And now Agent Stafford's dead. It's always tragic when we lose an agent. If only he'd left the premises like I'd asked, he might still be alive now. And maybe somebody else would be dead. Thanks for your time, Mr. Hirsch. We'll be sure to call you if we need more information. As you can see, I kind of staggered my stars a little bit. Trash can. Okay. So this is where the big decisions are made. It's pretty messy. Look at this trash. You want to search for that trash can? As long as I get to finish those croissants. And that torn paper. Is that blood on it? You better tape it back together. This fancy gift box is addressed to our victim. I wonder what's inside. These are quite the pair of cufflinks. And there's a card in it. For all your hard work. It's signed. But it's hard to make out that signature, Matthew. Let's make out that signature. Matthew, let's run it through the database to find a match. I have 8 stars. I might as well do everything now. Go. Matthew, these tickets for the rodeo are smeared with blood. Could it be our victim's blood? This ain't our first rodeo, Matthew. Let's send these tickets to the lab. Three hours. Okay, signature. Oh, and I still got the 9. James Hewitt. Matthew, the signature on the card belongs to the President of the United States, James Hewitt. So the President gave these cufflinks to our victim. Jonathan was certainly well liked. Well, Matthew, we did come here to talk to the President. Let's go do just that. About the gift you gave the victim? Mr. President, it's an honor to meet you. We're sorry to pay you a visit under such tragic circumstances. No need for formalities. Call me Dubia. Sure, President Dubia. We understand you and Special Agent Stafford were close. We found the cufflinks you gifted him. Such a shame. I sure am gonna miss that old Stafford. He was my favorite service guy, a good friend. He was so good with taking care of me and the missus. It's always the good ones that go. Too bad, too, 'cause those were nice cufflinks. Sir, we originally came here to warn you about a criminal organization called Sombra. Do you think they might... I'm gonna stop you right there. I've heard about it before. All that Sombra stuff is just nonsense. What I do know is there is a killer on the loose here at the camp, Marshal Matthew. You'd better find them. Yes, Dubia, we'll do our best. Matthew, I can't believe we came here to warn the President about Sombra and he won't even listen to us. We got to solve this murder quickly so we can get another shot at convincing President Hewitt. Watch. A Rolex. Oh, that's a nice parody. A Rolex. Matthew, that watch you found in the trash can is a Rolex. There's an inscription on the back, but it's in French. Wait, isn't the French president named Jean-Marc Bonheur? This must be Mr. Bonheur's watch, and he must be one of the dignitaries who were invited to the camp. Matthew, anyone at this camp right now is a potential suspect, so we need to interrogate Mr. Bonheur. About the murder? Bonjour, you are Marshal Matthew, n'est-ce pas? I was told you were looking for me. We're sorry to bother you, Mr. President of France, but one of President Hewitt's Secret Service agents has been murdered, and we're questioning everyone on the property. Did you have any interaction with him? Pas vraiment. I saw the agent only in passing. He blocked me when I went to give Hewitt the bice. The bice? Like a kiss? You try to kiss the President on the cheek? Oui, I was just being friendly. I was a little late. 45 minutes at the most. Mais c'est pas grave. It's just a French thing. Marshal Matthew, I must go. I have a golf rendezvous with the President. Au revoir. Matthew, what the heck was that about? I imagine we'll be crossing paths with President Bonheur again. I'll let you know when these two are done. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Okay, folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of stuff. Hey, Matthew, did you know that South Dakota's home to the world-famous mashed potato wrestling contest? Mashed potato wrestling? Like wrestling in yummy, buttery mashed potatoes? Where? It happens every year at the rodeo. And with these 2 tickets, Matthew found, we could go. Yippee-ki-yay rodeo tickets. Speaking of those rodeo tickets, did you find out whose blood's all over them? I did, and you were right, it's the victim's blood. The bloody handprint makes it clear that someone grabbed those tickets after touching the victim's body, and then they must have dropped them in the conference room. That was clearly the killer. I don't know why they take those tickets, but I do know the killer likes the rodeo. Matthew, get your lasso ready, because we're looking to rope in a rodeo-loving killer.
The brainchild of former Stanford professor Patrick Brown. He created Impossible Foods, which recently showed off the fruits of their labor.
We didn't just slap together a bunch of bits and pieces from plants and call it a burger. We did the deep research to understand what makes a burger so delicious.
Inside the Impossible Foods test kitchen, they make
In a moment, folks. There's 25 seconds left. Well, never mind. It is set already. Autopsy now. Matthew, I can't believe we're working here at Camp Rushmore. We're behind the scenes of the political machine. I'd be more excited if we didn't have a dead Secret Service agent on our hands and an evil criminal organization trying to take over the world. I see your point. Well, about Agent Stafford, the massive wound on the body revealed he was shot with a high-caliber rifle, most likely a .375 Magnum. This large, high-intensity ammunition is used primarily for big game hunting. So that means the killer hunts. Furthermore, the extensive damage inflicted on the body is typical of a close-range shot, which rules out an accident. However, the spreading of the blood around the victim's body suggests the killer tried to resuscitate him. So our killer first shot the guy and then tried to bring him back to life? Why? My guess is the killer was overcome with guilt after realizing what they had done. Well, regardless of their motives, Matthew, we're hunting down a killer with a target for murder.
Natasha Zubas, ABC 7 News. I don't know if I needed to believe, but...
Matthew, we came here to warn the president that Somber's behind the international crisis, but instead we found ourselves a dead Secret Service agent. Somber's infiltrated security services before. Could this murder be their doing? So far, between the two presidents and the director of Homeland Security, it's hard to see who could have done this. Matthew, we need you at the camp entrance ASAP. We're kind of in the middle of something, Ingrid. What's so urgent? The suspects are leaving the property. What?
How are you holding up?
How do you think?
You did everything you could.
Alright, I'll see you guys for Chapter 2. Okay, folks, let's start Chapter 2 of Politically Incorrect. Matthew, we came here to convince the president that Somber's up to a big international scheme, but instead we found ourselves a dead Secret Service agent. Somber's infiltrated security services before. Could this murder be their doing? So far, between the two presidents and the director of Homeland Security, it's hard to see who could have done this. Matthew, we need you at the camp entrance ASAP. The suspects are leaving the property. The president is leaving the property. Everyone is leaving the property. What? We're in the middle of a murder investigation and someone here is the killer? And someone here is the killer. We can't let them leave. Matthew, let's go stop them. Marshal Matthew, if you're trying to leave too, you'll have to wait. The landing pad is being prepped for the Japanese delegates. Mr. Hirsch, we're not leaving. No one should be leaving. We're in the middle of a criminal investigation and everyone here is a potential suspect. You need to keep everyone here until this case is closed. My goodness, this is quite the delay. Can someone please tell us when we'll be on our way? Your Majesty? What are you doing here? Matthew, let's have a chat with the Queen of England, and while we're at it, we can do a sweep of the grounds for clues. What she's doing at Camp Rushmore first? We'll talk to the Queen Mary III. Your Majesty, it's an honor to meet you again. Marshal Matthew, Agent Archer, it's been a while. We thought we'd seen the last of you in England. I do have to say, we're surprised to see you here. Are you visiting the President? We are here on official duty. The President has asked us to advise him on the current crisis. After all, we have some experience in these matters. Current crisis? You mean like what's happening with US Nay and US Stay, right? We are not at liberty to discuss these matters. Would you be at liberty to discuss the murder of the President's service agent? We need to question everyone that's here, including you. We cannot be bothered by your petty inquiries, and we are highly offended you'd even consider us a suspect. Again, we must go. Unfortunately, Your Majesty, you're not allowed to leave. We're going to need you to stay on the premises until the investigation is over. We are not amused.
Hello, Caroline. Remember me? You were the prosecutor in that case. I still am. The charge is escape and first degree. If you recall, I'll bring in another detective who is impersonating involved your choice.
Okay. Locked briefcase.
Her name is Caroline Priest. Caroline Priest. You have the right to remain silent.
That golf cart is a clue? Unbelievable.
You have the right to an attorney.
What's it like to be in good hands? Like finding new ways to be taken care of?
Come on. Life insurance, obviously.
But with that touches, you can't get everywhere else, like playing for rewards or sea driving boats.
Matthew, check out the golf cart you found. Too bad we can't go for a ride. And that security briefcase looks high-tech, but that's never stopped you before. Okay, golf cart now. Cowboy boots. Matthew, that's one pair of fancy cowboy boots you found in the golf cart. Good eye. The word Dubia has been stitched into the boat. Dubia, we know that name. Indeed, it's President Hewitt's nickname. These cowboy boots are his. But there's mud all over the soles. Was the president at the lake recently? I guess the only way to know is to ask him. Let's see if we can get another meeting with the president. About his muddy cowboy boots. Thank you for seeing us again, Mr. President Dubia. We'd like to ask you about your cowboy boots, the ones with mud all over them. Have you been to the lake recently? You caught me, Marshal Matthew. You found my secret spot. Your secret spot? My secret rehearsal spot for the annual Camp Rushmore Hoedown. I like to practice my moves at the lake. It's private, away from all the hubbub. There's a country western dance party happening? But what about Agent Stafford's murder? Or Sombra? Not this nonsense again. Listen, I'm deeply saddened and absolutely do want to find the person who masterminded this murder. Mastermind? Oh, you mean Mastermind dead? Exactly, Mastermind. So I need to concentrate on my duties as president. I have to embetter this delicate diplomatic situation. And to do that, we square dance. It's my favorite activity next to going to the rodeo. Mr. President, I don't want to be a square, but if Marshal Matthew discovers you're involved in Agent Stafford's murder, your next hoedown will be in prison. Okay, locked briefcase now. ATR A78 UWQ. Matthew, the file in that briefcase is marked top secret, and inside there's a bunch of blacked out documents about our victim. This one even says that Stafford's actions pose a threat to national security. A top secret file about our victim with mentions to national security? This information may blow our case wide open. Let's get this to Elliot ASAP. 12 hours. Alright, I'll see you guys when that's done. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we're back. I'm under unlimited energy happy hour, so let's speed this up. Hey Matthew, could you please tell Sanjay to stop with the Vanna, Alabama stuff? I don't like her. Matthew, he's lying. He loves her. He's even got a poster of her. Will you guys, enough. We're on lockdown at Camp Rushmore until we solve this murder. So if it's cool with you, I'd like to get on with it. Sorry about that, Matthew. Anyway, about those top secret documents you brought me, as you know, most of it was sanitized or blacked out. So it was difficult to get the overall gist. I couldn't access the unsanitized files, but I did find out these documents originated from a computer issued to one Sidney Hirsch. He's the one who compiled the data on Stafford. Sidney compiled this file? So not only did he suspend the victim, he was also spying on him? Exactly what he was suspecting Stafford of. Exactly what was he suspecting Stafford of? Matthew, let's go find Sidney. He's got some explaining to do. About his top secret file on the victim. Duck! Ah! Marshal Matthew, don't be alarmed. I was just hunting to clear my mind. You almost gave me a heart attack. Now, we found the top secret file you had compiled on Agent Stafford. We need to know what that's about. If you must know, Agent Stafford was having an affair with a top-level official of this administration. Not only is that a disgrace to the service, it could compromise national security. I like a good rodeo like the next guy, but I won't have my department be run like one. I suppose there's no chance you could tell us who Stafford was having an affair with. I'm sorry, that information is classified, but I recommend you search the conference room. You never know what you'll find just laying around. We'll have a look, but classify this, Mr. Hirsch. If Marshal Matthew finds out you killed Agent Stafford, your clearance level will go from top secret to top inmate. He's in the hunt.
Welcome to Grey House. It's gonna be a good show, trust me. Didn't know you were a fan of magic and romance. Everyone can use a little magic.
It's an all-new 2-hour Goodrich Howard event. Premieres Saturday, October 22nd at 9 on Homework Channel.
Alright. See, pyramid, ice cream, cartridge case. Ah, that's a clue. Note. Here we are. Up to 4th. Matthew, the cartridges in that case look big, like the kind that Grace mentioned in her autopsy. There are 2 missing cartridges, too. Most large game rifles have a double barrel. These cartridges could be the ones the killer used to shoot Stafford. The cartridges are covered in some sticky, flaky particles. Matthew, a sample of that could be helpful. As for that note, is that a lipstick kiss? The message says, Staffy, meet me tonight at our usual place. So Stafford was having an affair with someone, and that someone's here on the property. We need to find out who that is. Matthew, let's grab a sample of that lipstick. Oh, why not?
Last place I was at bars, there was a big wall of art.
7. Matthew, let's send that particle sample we pulled from the cartridge case to Lars. 6 hours. No, let's examine the note now. There we go. 9 already. Now that we've got that lipstick sample from the note, Matthew, you can run it under a microscope to see who's been shacking up with our victim. If this is pink lipstick, it should be from Queen Mary III. There we go. Eight energy. No, it's Olivia Hewitt. Matthew, the DNA in the lipstick sample comes from one Olivia Hewitt. Olivia Hewitt? Matthew, that's the First Lady. She's the one that left that note for Stafford. So the president's wife was having an affair with Stafford? I don't know if the president knows, but thankfully marriage counseling isn't in our job description. What is our job is to interrogate suspects, and that means having a word with the First Lady. About her affair with the victim? Mrs. Hewitt, we apologize for prying, but we need to ask you some questions about the affair you were having with Agent Stafford. So the secret's out. Marshal Matthew, being the First Lady isn't as glamorous as it seems. The nights can be long and lonely. I found a friend in Jonathan, someone I could talk to. We'd go hiking, play cards, go to the rodeo. I have a soft spot for a man who can wrangle a bull. Overall, Jonathan was kind, attentive, and available. But you're the First Lady. Didn't you see how that could be compromising for your husband? For the country? Marshal Matthew, I may be the First Lady, but I'm still a woman, and sometimes a woman needs to feel the warm embrace of a man. Okay. We're done with questions for now, Mrs. First Lady. Alright, flaky particles, I'll let run its course. I'll get the rest of the stars. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Morning, everyone. It is now time for me to get the results of the flaky particles from Lars. Hey, Jack, I'm thinking of going out for pie once we're done with this investigation. Want to come? Sure, bro, but why are you thinking about pie now? Because the sample Matthew sent me made me hungry. Those particles you found in the cartridge case are a mix of yeast, eggs, sugar, and flour, also known as Kuchen. Kuchen is a traditional German pastry made with sweet dough, and it's also South Dakota's official state dessert. My guess is your killer was eating Kuchen while loading the rifle they used to kill the victim, which means your killer eats Kuchen. Matthew, it'll be easy as pie. It'll be as easy as pie to find our killer now that we know they have a sweet tooth for murder. Matthew, this case is turning out to be one heck of a political house of cards. We came with the mission of convincing the president to take Sombra's claims of global domination seriously, but instead we ended up with the murder of the president's top secret service agent. And while I wouldn't be surprised if Sombra was behind this, everyone around here seems to have some stake in the victim's demise. Between the First Lady's extramarital affair with the victim or the Director of Homeland Security's attempt at covering it up, it's clear that there's a lot there's a lot that's going on behind closed doors. And the president still won't acknowledge that Sombra's a real threat. What is it with him? We better find Agent Stafford's killer soon, or we run the risk of finding out firsthand exactly what Sombra's plans really are. Matthew Archer, we've got a problem. I just had the FBI on the phone. They're taking over the investigation. They're on their way here now. Uh-oh, they can't do that. That's not right. We'll start Chapter 3 and hopefully stop the FBI from stopping us after this. Alright folks, there's Matthew. We've returned. Let's start Chapter 3 of Politically Incorrect. Matthew, this case is turning out to be one heck of a political house of cards. We came with the mission of convincing the president to take Sombra's claims to global domination seriously, but instead we ended up with the murder of the president's top secret service agent. And while Sombra could be behind this, everyone around here seems to have some stake in the victim's death. Matthew Archer, we've got a problem. I just had the FBI on the phone. They're taking over the investigation. They're on their way here now. What? The FBI can't take over this case. We're close to catching our killer. I can try to keep them at bay, but... Chief Ripley, we've received orders to take over this investigation. Your team can step aside now. Not so fast, Agent Riordan. The Bureau's always been granted international jurisdiction. You can't overstep our authority for 24 hours after the start of an investigation, and we're only 12 hours in, so your team can step aside. You can have your 12 hours, but that won't help, and we'll be here watching you. Matthew, let's prove to these agents what we're made of. You've got 12 hours. I suggest you start by doing another sweep of the entrance to the camp. There's bound to be something there. Torn photo. Ugh, that's not the dog. Oh, there's the dog. An injured corgi. Oh no. Le chemin vers la gloire. Up to 5th now. Who's a good doggy? Yes, you are. Matthew, this must be one of the Queen's corgis, but that little fellow's seen better days. With the cone, cast, and... Wait a second, is that blood? It doesn't seem to be his. I agree, we better get a sample. And that torn photo's bound to give us something we can work with. I'll get the tape. Is that the French president on that book? Why is he dressed like the Emperor Napoleon? Inside there's a newspaper clipping showing him next to someone all beat up. I wonder what that's about. Maybe we should try to retrieve the faded text. Matthew, we'll show these FBI goons who's the boss. Let's solve this murder. It's a good thing these weights don't go against you when you have the 12 hours in the episode. Okay? Don't worry, little buddy. Uncle Jack's taking care of you. Matthew, now that you have a blood sample from that dog cone, let's run it under a microscope. I laugh at how Archer is around animals. Just that it's funny they include it, basically. Jonathan's blood. Uh-oh. Matthew, that blood sample from the dog cone is a perfect match with the victim's blood. But how did it get there? If this dog's the Queen's, we need to talk to her about her canine's bloody collar. About her dog's bloody collar? Your Majesty, thank you for seeing us. We found... Sir Wagglesworth, there you are. We were wondering where you went. You know, Sir Wagglesworth's been through quite the ordeal. All we wanted to do was some light hunting. That's actually why we came to see you. How did our victim's blood get all over him? That horrible man, he did this to Sir Wagglesworth. We were out walking when I spotted the President and Mr. Hirsch having some coffee and kuchen. I don't care for it, but I stopped to have a chat with them. However, Sir Wagglesworth was a bit rambunctious. He was running around the property when all of a sudden I heard a wail. That agent had run over him with the President's SUV. That explains his injuries, but what about the blood? After he was bandaged up, Sir Wagglesworth went for a walk. He discovered the agent's bloody body and tried to help him. He's the one that alerted the authorities. Such a brave doggy. Your Majesty, I hate to say it, but if Marshal Matthews discovers you had something to do with Agent Stafford's death, your next dog days will be spent behind bars. My gut is saying that Sidney Hirsch is the killer. Aha! Matthew, this photo shows the First Lady leading Stafford into one of the cabins. Guess they weren't too discreet about their affair. You're right, look on the back. There's something written. Don't make me tell him. It seems someone was blackmailing the First Lady. We need to have another chat with her. About the blackmail photo? Marshal Matthew, care for a piece of kuchen? Just came out of the oven. No thanks, Mrs. Hewitt. We're here regarding the photo of you and Agent Stafford we found and the note written on the back. I guess someone was blackmailing you. Stafford tried pressuring me into telling my husband about us. He thought holding evidence over my head would make me cave. That poor deluded man. He thought we were in love. Stafford wanted me to run away with him and travel the world, go on safaris, do some big game hunting. Stafford thought if the President knew about our affair, our secret would be out and I'd be free to go. But if he told the President, it could have ruined your life. I aspire to be more in life than just being the First Lady, and I wasn't about to let a trivial affair get in the way of that. Well, I hope for your sake that didn't mean killing him. It's a sorry state of extramarital affairs if you have to resort to murder in order to keep your sordid tales silent. Now she's in the running. The writing in this book and on the newspaper clipping is all in French. I can't understand anything, Matthew. But we do know someone who does. Dupont. Let's get this book to him fast. Okay, that's gonna do. 9 hours, I'll get the results then. So for now, this is Matthew. See y'all then. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the annotated book from Dupont. Bonjour, Matthew. This book you've brought me is quite the amusing read, although I don't think it's meant to be. What do you mean? As you know, the book is about the French president Jean-Marc Bonheur. It's actually the test copy of his autobiography. In it, he draws parallels between his life and that of Napoleon I. Needless to say, there's a bit of exaggeration on his part. However, one area where the two men are similar is in the hunting department. They both seem to be horrible at the sport. So Bonheur hunts. Is that what the newspaper article is all about? Et oui. Monsieur le Président was involved in a scandalous hunting incident where he accidentally shot his bodyguard. And it's not his first time. As he wrote in the margin here, he should most certainly stop hunting for the sake of all humankind. Matthew, if Bonheur already shot one bodyguard, he could have shot and killed another one. We need to talk to him. He is in the clear for now, but let's see what he has to say about this. Mr. French President, you've omitted telling us about your numerous hunting accidents, like the one that involved shooting your bodyguard. Ooh la. Marshal Matthew, those are just accidents. I would never shoot another human being on purpose. Vraiment? I'm just a terrible hunter, much like the great Napoleon, but I'm getting better. Can you tell us where exactly you were at the time Agent Stafford was shot? Bien sûr. First I had some kuchen and coffee, and then I went into the forest to do some target shooting. I'm practicing for the upcoming rodeo. I will be a cowboy for a day. But believe me, Marshal Matthew, there was nobody around me this time. Je le jure. Mr. Bonheur, you may be president, but if Marshal Matthew finds out you accidentally killed Agent Stafford, your next hunting grounds will be in jail. Now he's in the running. Matthew, we're running out of time. With the FBI breathing down our necks, we can't lower our sights for 1 second. We've swept the majority of the property and have found a lot of clues, but we're still missing the last ones that'll help us nail our killer. I agree, we should go back to the crime scene. Let's head to Rushmore Lake.
He was very vague. He kept saying, I can't remember. He would break into tears and say, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I don't know where she is exactly, but I can take you there.
The Lexus showed no signs of exterior damage consistent with an accident. Investigators thought Linda might still be alive and pressed Rathbun to lead them to her grave.
I might go with the mountain goat this time for the rest of the crime scene, but we'll see.
He knew exactly where she was, and he was trying to stall to buy more time, hoping that Linda's body would be decomposed by the time we did find it.
Investigators pushed Rathbun yet again for information, this time touring the forest in a helicopter.
Briefcase.
After a number of failed attempts, Rathbun finally led them to Linda's body.
Picnic plate.
She was buried and the left tire impression of the Lexus was found in the soft sand nearby.
She surprisingly
Am I going to get the first star?
preserved.
No.
For a 9-day burial, I was not optimistic that we would have a lot of soft tissue.
Matthew, this is no time for a picnic. We've only got a few hours left to catch the killer. Oh, you think this is the victim's plate? He was shot during his lunch break. Let's have a closer look. Did someone try to hide that briefcase? It looks old. It should be easy to unlock.
Accident or homicide.
Michaela's new show on HLN has it all.
Let's give you a quick check of the headlines.
She's got the day covered.
The man wanted by the FBI is now in custody.
The stories that inspire. We have to be honest.
Okay, I'm going to take care of everything right now. QXR. UHA. G28. Got the 9. Great. Matthew, there's a rifle inside this case. Could this be the murder weapon? You're right. With the FBI bearing down on us, We've got no time for guesswork. Let's get this rifle to Jonah. How long? 9 hours?
If I do this,
Oh. Aha. 8. Okay. A metal object and it's covered in blood. Matthew, it's a little creepy going through Stafford's food plate, but you found something, so it was worth it. Unfortunately, I have no idea what this small metal object is, but it's covered in blood. Let's get this to Lars. I'll let you know. I'll tackle them when this is done. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the gun case from Jonah. Jonah, were you able to check out the gun case we brought in? I did, Matthew, and you were right. This rifle is your murder weapon. This is an over-under double-barrel .375 Magnum rifle that dates back to about 1915. There were only 20 of these made. Okay, what else can you tell us? When returning the gun to its case, your killer failed to notice that some fibers from their clothing got caught on the trigger. I gave the fibers to Lars. He checked them out and he says they're proof your killer wears a scarf. Matthew, the killer will have a reason to stay warm once we throw them in a cold, dark cell. Okay, metal object. Matthew, I got something that can help you hit your target. Thanks, bro. We need to solve this murder before the FBI jumps in. First, you should know the metallic object you found in the picnic plate is the backing, or clutch, of a lapel pin. It's what you connect to the pin in order to keep it on. Second, the blood on the clutch belongs to the victim. The clutch does not. Stafford was wearing a pin when he was shot, but it still has its backing. I checked. Therefore, the only conclusion must be, your killer wears a lapel pin. Matthew, we're one step away from pinning this murder on our killer. Your time's up, Marshal Matthew. Let the big boys take over now. You can call off the dogs. We found Stafford's killer. Matthew, let's go make an arrest. Wait, it's not James Hewitt. It's not Jean-Marc Bonheur. It's definitely not Queen Mary III. And it is not Olivia Hewitt. I was right. It was Sidney Hirsch. Sidney Hirsch, you're under arrest for the murder of Jonathan Stafford. You're the director of Homeland Security. Why would you kill a member of your staff? Suspending him should have been enough to keep the president safe. Marshal Matthew, I don't have time for your games. I have to protect this nation from impending dangers. You should start by protecting them from yourself, because a seasoned hunter who knows his way around large game rifles is indeed an impending danger. So I can hunt. That doesn't make me a murderer. I like the rodeo too, but that doesn't make me a cowboy. No, but your rodeo tickets covered in the victim's blood sure do scream yippee-ki killer. This is preposterous. I'm a high-ranking official of the U.S. government. I serve my country well. You serve your country so well that your U.S. flag lapel pin gave you away. It was the bloody nail in your coffin. Marshal Matthew, you figured me out. I killed Jonathan. I killed the man I love. Well, wait, what? I was in love with Jonathan. He was so strong yet sensitive. I know he was much younger than me, but I couldn't resist. You were having an affair with Stafford? But I thought he was having an affair with the First Lady. Exactly how many people was our victim sleeping with? Olivia was just using him. She didn't love him like I did. He fell for her tricks like a fool. So you didn't suspend him because he was a liability. You did it because you were jealous. I thought suspending him would get him to see things clearly, but that just made him angry. We met at the lake for lunch before he was to board his helicopter flight. I tried talking to him, but he pushed me away, called me old. So that's when you got the rifle and shot him. But why did you try to give him CPR? I realized I had shot the man I loved. I just wanted him back. Don't play coy with us. You planned the whole thing. Got the gun, shot Stafford, then packed the rifle neatly back in its case like it was nothing. Now you know killing those you love doesn't win you their love. It just wins you prison time. Mr. Hirsch, you're under arrest. Sidney Hirsch, you're charged with the voluntary manslaughter of Special Agent Jonathan Stafford. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor. I committed a heinous crime. I killed the man I love. You're the Director of Homeland Security. This country counted on you to keep it safe. How could you justify this murder? Jonathan didn't love me back. I was lost without him. In these troubled times of international tension, we cannot afford having those who are supposed to protect us start killing one another. With that in mind, Mr. Hirsch, this court sentenced you to 18 years for the murder of Jonathan Stafford. It doesn't matter. Without Jonathan, I have no reason to live. Congratulations, Marshal Matthew. You saved the day. I just sent those FBI agents on their way. Matthew, I have to say, I didn't see that coming. I never would have expected the Director of Homeland Security to be involved in a love triangle with a Secret Service agent and the First Lady. But that means Sombra wasn't involved. They're still out there plotting their big move. We tried convincing the President that Sombra's up to something, but he wouldn't listen to us. We've got to find another way to get him to understand that Sombra means business. Matthew, the clock is ticking and we've got our work cut out for us. Let's dig up the proof we need to stop Sombra dead in their tracks. Taking a look at the other ones. James Hewitt cleared from the start. Jean-Marc Bonheur, no lapel pin. Queen Mary II cleared early. Olivia Hewitt, no scarf. It was Sidney Hirsch. I'll see you guys for Edge of Darkness 5-8. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's start Edge of Darkness 5-8. Matthew, now that we've caught the person who killed the President's Secret Service agent, we can continue our original mission here. Convince the President to take Sombra seriously. If only we could find a way to get through to him. He hasn't listened to a word we've said about Sombra. Matthew, this is amazing. You'll never guess who I just saw walking around Camp Rushmore. Vanna, Alabama. That's great, but we were kind of busy. But Matthew, it's Vanna, Alabama, the singer. She's here at Camp Rushmore. I saw her by the lake. You mean the pop singer? We haven't seen Vanna since we were in Dubai. I wonder what she's doing here. I don't know, but I do know that if I got Vanna's autograph for Elliot, he'd freak out. Can you come with me to find her, Matthew? Sanjay, stop bothering Matthew. They've got work to do. But, Mom... It's okay, Carmen. Why don't you and Matthew look for Vanna over at the lake? I'll be ready when you want to talk to the President, Matthew. Torn poster. There we go. Matthew, I don't see Vanna anywhere. Are you sure she's here, Sanjay? Yes, I saw her. Matthew, maybe that torn poster could help us out. I'll help you tape it back together. benefit concert poster. Matthew, see, I was telling the truth. That poster's for a show starring Vanna, Alabama. It looks like she's in town doing a U.S. State benefit concert. And the poster's autographed to the First Lady. She must know her personally. Matthew, do you think you could ask the First Lady to introduce us to Vanna? Pretty please? And let's ask her. Mrs. Hewitt, thank you for seeing my son and me. He found the concert poster Vanna, Alabama autographed for you. Would you happen to know her? I do. We did some benefit work together a little while back. She's a colorful character, but dedicated to her causes. She's currently headlining the U.S. State Benefit Concert here in South Dakota and stopped by for a visit. She signed that poster for me, but the Queen's dog got to it first. I'm sorry to impose, but is there any way you could introduce my son to Vanna? He's a huge fan. I can do better than that. She's given me a backstage pass to the show, but I can't go. I can't be seen playing favorites to the U.S. State movement. Why don't you go in my place? Really? Thank you. That would be amazing. Oh, I can't find it. Maybe I dropped it at the camp entrance when I saw the Queen off. Perhaps you could find it there. And here's a little spending cash for you to buy some goodies at the show. A faded badge. There we go. Matthew, you found the concert pass, but it's faded. Don't worry, Sanjay. Matthew will fix that pass for you. Uh-huh. See, it's as good as new, and it's a VIP backstage pass. Sanjay, you'll be able to see all the cool stuff. Too bad Elliot can't come. He loves Vanna. Come on, Matthew, let's go meet Vanna. Hi, Sanjay. I'm Vanna, Alabama. I heard you're a big fan of mine. And Marshall Matthew, it's nice to see you again. I'm happy you could make it to the show. You're the best. I know all your songs. Miss Alabama, I have a friend who really likes you. This is from him. Okay, thanks. Do you want an autograph? Yes, please. Thanks, little buddy. Enjoy the show. It's gonna be rockin'. Now let's get to more pressing matters. Mr. President, now that everything's calmed down, we wanted to talk to you about Sombra. Listen, Marshall Matthew, I appreciate your perseverance, but this Sombra thing is just another conspiracy theory. But if you're really interested in this nonsense of yours, I recommend you check out the conference room and dig up a file the Russian president left for me a few days ago. He was really keen on this Sombra organization, but I've got no time for these wild theories when there's the UN situation to deal with. Well, thanks for the lead, Mr. President. Don't mention it, Marshall Matthew, and while I'm at it, take this as a little souvenir of your visit. Safe box. Cosmorus. Oh boy, that'll get Marina screaming. If Marina happens to find out, of course. Matthew, that small safe box has the Cosmos logo on it. And we know Cosmos was the Russian space agency. This safe box must be what the Russian president brought to President Hewitt. Let's unlock it. Ah. $381. There we go. Oh, flash drive. Matthew, that USB key was locked up in the safe box for a reason. My guess is those are the Sombra documents the president mentioned. Let's get this to Elliot. It's a 3-hour wait. Okay, not long. I'll let this run its course. See y'all later. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the USB key. Matthew, thanks for the USB key. It was a challenge to hack. The encryption was top level. So what did the Russian president put on that USB key? What you have here are the blueprints of everyone's favorite Sombra satellite, Bob. Considering the head of Cosmos was working for Sombra, it's no doubt the Russian government looked into her files after you arrested her, Matthew. They don't know what Sombra intended to do with Bob, but it did make me think of something we could use to prove Sombra's plans. Great, what is it? When I took control of Bob, the first thing I did was to make sure that even if Sombra had somehow gotten a hold of it again, they wouldn't be able to launch Darkness Descends. That was their plan, to use Bob to take control of any satellites they wanted, right? Yeah, that would have allowed Sombra to launch cyber attacks on any country in the world, or on all of them at once. So when I hacked into Bob, I cut off the main hard drive from everything else, so that even I couldn't access it anymore. But the hard drive is still there, and it has the secrets of codes Bob would have used to hijack those satellites. It's the undeniable proof of Sombra's plans. That's exactly what we need to show world leaders. They won't be able to say it's just rumors anymore. But how do we get that hard drive? That's the catch. I'd hate to lose our advantage over Sombra, but Matthew, the only way to get that hard drive is to bring Bob down. I know there's a space command center here at Camp Rushmore. If you can get me in, I could route Bob back to Earth. Matthew's right. Sidney may be in prison, but until a few hours ago, he was still the Director of Homeland Security. He should be able to help. Minute, folks. And let's ask Sidney for help. Sidney, we need your help. It's a matter of national security. We know there's an underground space command center here at Rushmore. We need access to it. It's very secure. You'll never... I've had it up to here with the political runaround. The president won't listen to our warnings about Sombra. You... Wait a second, did you say Sombra? You know about Sombra? What do you know about Sombra? Just rumors. The name keeps popping up lately, but the president refuses to authorize an investigation into the matter. Marshal Matthew, if you can find my red notebook, you'll get the access codes to the command center. It probably fell out of my pocket when you arrested me at the camp entrance. Great. Matthew, let's go find that notebook, and let's grab something to eat on the way before we collapse. 10 seconds to find everything. Matthew, that looks like the notebook Sydney mentioned, but the writing's all faded. Let's retrieve it. There we go. Only 5 energy though. Matthew, here they are. The codes Elliot needs to get into the secret facility. Let's get this to Elliot ASAP. Another 3-hour wait. I'll see you guys when that's done. Okay folks, we've returned. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the code sequence. Matthew, the codes worked. I was able to get into the complex, no problem. That's great, Elliot. What about Bob? Were you able to route it back to Earth? I was. The satellite's entering the Earth's orbit as we speak. I connected my laptop to the mainframe in the complex. Matthew, check it out. Here's Bob entering the... Wait, what happened? Elliot, what's wrong? Bob, it's not showing on the radar. We've lost the signal. Matthew, I need to see what happened. I'll let you know what I find out. Matthew, that was the best concert ever. Vanna is the coolest. Sanjay, what's that piece of paper you gave Vanna earlier? Elliot's phone number. You did what? I told you. No, I don't have time for this right now. Matthew, I figured out why Bob disappeared from the radar. Someone rerouted its descent. What do you mean someone rerouted its descent? I mean someone hijacked Bob. We need to find it. Getting that hard drive would give us the proof that Sombra's a real global danger. Don't worry, Matthew, I'm already on it. I've managed to track the impact. The satellite crashed in northern Canada, in the wilderness. Alright, Matthew, there's not a minute to spare. Grab your parkas because we're heading to northern Canada. You have the Monster Cup in the background, which my parents are at, and I'm not. Why? Because I didn't care about going. October 20th, that's 5 days from now, that's a Thursday again, and I'll see you guys when that is done, but for now, before we say goodbye, I'd like to show you guys stickers I got. Only 2 new ones. 4 new ones. 5 new ones. 4 new ones. That's it. $16. That's the killer. Wow, I'm doing really good on this one. Case 37. And I'll see you guys when Case 54 is released on October 20th. See y'all later.